Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. The next episode of Red Valkyrie is about to start. Hey, welcome everyone to another episode of Red Valkyrie. I am your host, Shae Zombie, and of course my lovely co-host off to the side, Cyborg Valkyrie. Say hello.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our second stream of the day.
I know, right? Costume change happened. All of the good stuff happened. The background that hopefully the dog will stop leaning on. I make no promises. We promise a shit show.
Bridge too far.
And we are super lucky to be here with the amazingly talented Cody from Jack Irons. How you doing, Cody?
I'm doing well, and thank you very much for saying amazingly talented, but still improving on that. Good so far. Good so far. That's why I'm here, though. I'm here to prove more of that talent and to deliver the best of the Weird Space West.
The Weird Space West. That was really good. I
love what it lasts.
All right, so you have already had 2 successful books in the Jack Irons series, correct?
Yeah, surprisingly.
And you're about to launch your 3rd. When does that launch?
That launches in February. We're looking at mid-February to late February due to some background things, but I'm thinking closer to mid-February. But February, that's what I've been using. So February it is.
Sounds good. So for people who maybe aren't familiar with Jack Irons, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of your elevator pitch on kind of the world and the characters and what you plan for book 3.
Alrighty. Well, as I said, I and what our imprint is, Ironverse Comics, we're trying to put the frontier back into the final frontier to deliver the best of the Weird Space West. Now, to do that, we started with Jack Irons, the Steel Cowboy. This one's been on my plate for a long time. I've been thinking about and working on this character for well over a decade now. Just since 2018, I've been having a public release. I guess 2017, late 2017, I put out the line art for issue number 1 on Tapas, which is, you can still read the whole first issue in black and white on tapastic.com. Just Jack Irons Steel Cowboy and TAPAS. Search that and you can not listen to me talking about it and actually go check it out.
Actually, I just found the link. Can you see that?
All right. Thank you so much, Cy. And so Jack and really Ironverse Comics is a it's an exploration piece on some really dark stuff that we filter through some fun and well-known pop culture themes that, in my case and a lot of other people's cases, really resonated with them, in their teens or as kids or connections with their parents. The 80s heavier kind of the Mad Max films, the RoboCops, the spaghetti westerns. Basically, Jack Irons. There's a quote from the review of issue 1 that I used a shotgun when I should have used a sniper rifle when writing Jack Irons, and that kind of works. I shot a lot of places in terms of theme and tone, and the main point of that review, though, is that nonetheless I hit my target. So I hope that's what we tend to do. Again, the best case can be made just to go check it out yourself and see if it's up your alley. It's about a immortal cowboy who remembers past lives. So this is a man with immense weight that cannot leave that weight behind. He cannot escape into death. And that's the most simple pitch right there. It's just a man with the weight of humanity on his shoulders that cannot escape it.
That is super
That's
awesome.
a lot of weight.
Right?
Oh, thank you.
So I was just scrolling through the second one, since you're already 2 and I guess a half books in, just so people can get kind of an idea about the at least where it has already been. I love this image, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've really been blessed with the talents I've been able to work with and meet and put out there. In that case, that image you're talking about was Matthias Laborde. He was our colorist for issue number 1, who sadly, in between the production times, he could not be a colorist anymore. It's just the funding was not there for him to make a living for his family there. So he had to take a hiatus from coloring. So we had to find somebody else, and that was a whole thing. But hopefully we'll be able to work with him again pretty soon. He's extremely talented. Now we were working with Stephen Cannon on issue number 2. But the line artist, who's basically all the flavor, all of what communicates my weirdness, is Maxi Dallo's art. And he is incredible at adding this tone. He's an Argentinian. There's a good story behind it, meeting him, if you guys have the time.
Sure.
So when I was making Jack, or trying to figure out how to get this done, getting into comics, I did the research. I looked through publishers. I tried to see how other people have broken in. It gave me ideas, I guess, but nothing there really worked. Eventually, I just figured out you just have to at least start it somehow. So I gathered a small lump sum, way smaller than I really should have been able to do this with, and I just went looking for artists online and tried a couple who just kind of jerked me around or didn't respond. Mm-hmm. And then eventually I was like, what do I know? I buy a lot of stuff off of Craigslist. Let's see. So I put an ad on Craigslist looking for a comic book artist.
Wait.
And he happened to be in my hometown and wanting to check it out. And so I met the artist for Jack Iron Steel Cowboy through Craigslist, and I met him at our McDonald's to sign the contracts and talk it over and meet.
That's awesome.
And look at all the art. And it didn't end with a stabbing. It ended with a Steel Cowboy comic.
Are you sure that this was like in the ads on Craigslist, not like misconnections or I saw you.
Now see, that's where people go to our Patreon, okay, and they can get the lowdown on that, okay. You just got to pay for it. No,
subscribe, but just subscribe for at least $20 a month. You can get the lowdown on what actually.
There you go. See, you can get the deep and dirty.
Ew! I wouldn't have put it that way. Ew.
You're so welcome, see? But yes, on to Jack Iron.
I'm just going to let you go on mute for a second.
So why I'm kind of here is issue number 3, yeah?
Right.
What I'm seeing right here is the pre-launch sign-up page, which is where folks can make sure they're alerted when we launch, because, as I was earlier, it's kind of a vague launch date, yeah? And February. And also, it'll allow folks to get deals on the shipping and the comics themselves. And with issue 3's campaign, we're offering exclusive covers of issue number 1 and number 2. Maxi Dallo will be doing the line art. I'm actually looking at a very interesting colorist who kind of just popped out of nowhere to try on his line art. It's really a heck of a thing. The preview panel I saw, but anywho, I'll announce that more if it clears. But
if the check clears,
I mean,
there's some people he has to talk to get an okay. And also the check clears. That's very true. We have to fund for any of this. That's very true. So, and the best way, again, just sign up for that launch right there, and I'll be emailing that out, and you will be saving some money if you want to support us. And that's the only way we're going to be able to make comics. So,
that's awesome.
Be great.
I've seen a lot of people do, like, even if it's just a 5% discount, or in your case, a secret perk or something like that, just some kind of incentive to get those signups. So you're starting out with at least a little bit of a base from the beginning. Not to mention your previous customers, obviously.
Right.
Well, I'm hoping. There were a lot of first times. I was learning on the fly. I'm still learning on the fly. I'll probably be learning on the fly till I die. But the real, it's the grind, and the only reason I'm able to do it is because of folks helping us on out like you guys. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. That's
we're happy to do it.
Happy to work with your schedule and get you on before launch. Hopefully we can get you on when you're live too.
Oh, I'll have plenty of time. I'm gonna be hitting everything I can. There's no way. So last year we ran another campaign for a spin-off comic called Cactus Coyote, and that I learned a lot from that failure. And
I remember that.
so I'm doing my best in every angle to ensure folks can still get this, and also just to get those amazing talents paid. People who look at the work, even just ignoring my writing or the setting or whatever, it's gorgeous talents, and they deserve to be working and putting out, art. And so I'm really, that's a big part of. I want to keep them working. And if it could be my stuff.
Where you are right now, Sai, is a really good example of something that I noticed through the Jack Irons pages and stuff, is that you're doing this spaghetti western, and when you do a spaghetti western, you kind of think of like two distinct color palettes. You either think of the super muted, really, really rich colors, or you think of like the brighter, like just brighter, super saturated kind of colors. But you have this like interesting kind of watercolory effect going, where it's like you still have the bright, and you can still feel the sunset, and it still has like the right kind of flow with the line work and everything, but it's also kind of pastel almost. And it's so interesting because you've made it, like, you guys as a team has made it work.
Yeah, I think it's because of the Maxie's lines are kind of loose and playful. It's kind of a fun look,
Yes.
even when really awful stuff's going on. And so we wanted to do that with the colors too, to really just make it pop. And since it's a science fiction book as well, we really wanted a bright, vibrant color palette, and to really strike against the real gnarly imagery in the books too.
Right. Well, and it's an interesting kind of blend together to have a spaghetti western and to have like a futuristic scene and somehow make those work. But you've done a good job of making it gritty and making it still kind of future.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm trying to figure out this mic issue here, but
No, I think it's just StreamYard.
Oh, okay, right on. Yeah, because it's a possibility. I usually stream through my Discord and OBS, so it's a little bit different. I can send the audio to different places than I can with StreamYard. But yeah, it's going through my main speaker system instead. But anyway, people don't care about my speaker setup. Also on that Tapas link, if you go there, you can. We were talking about Cactus Coyote. You can also read the first issue of Cactus Coyote manga. It's I did the lettering and a good chunk of the editing, and it also takes place in the Jack Irons universe. So if you like this, or if you read the first issue in black and white, you want a little bit more of what we're trying to do, that's another thing to check. We're still working on getting that art out from the campaign. We got an ash can out of the campaign that we were paying for as we were running the campaign, so we got something out of it. So you guys will see more of that, but down the line. And if you want to check it out, though, we'd appreciate it. I like seeing the views on Tapas. We've almost hit, between the two titles, 10,000 views, which is kind of cool. For the site we're on. The site we're on is not a superhero site. It's more of a, I'm going to use the word romance site, but you can stretch that definition very widely. Pun may be intended.
It's like, I don't know what to say to that. Just gonna be quiet.
So what you're saying is, between those two comments, deep and wide. So that's.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there you go. See, that's the quality content that people should have me on their shows for.
Okay, so did you really meet this guy at the McDonald's, or was it more like a rest stop?
Are you on my Patreon? We talked about that. There's a gate fee, brother or sister.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just curious, when you guys met to do this deal, did you actually have food, or did you just meet there and not order?
We just met there because it was the first time it was a public place. Last time for issue 2, I was giving him he wanted to give me an original piece of art and some other stuff before he left the country again. Then we ate because they were on their way to wherever they were going, and so I was just their meal. Well, they ate. I didn't eat.
Before he fled the country to Argentina.
Yeah, exactly.
To get away from whatever.
From me, yeah.
I'm blaming you. It's obviously your fault.
100%. Yeah.
After all that Craigslist and Patreon activity.
I'm trying to run a legitimate business here.
Now, you're now trying to run a legitimate business here.
Oh my
awesome.
goodness. So
it took so long, less than 15 minutes for this to just get fucked sideways. It's awesome.
You know, we do good stuff here. I don't know what you're talking about.
Quality entertainment.
Oh, 100% quality. I'd say it's at least 10% better than what I do by myself. So,
you know, hey, I mean, there's only two of us, so you know, together we make up 10% more. Take that as you will.
I'm kidding.
Oh my goodness. So how many issues are you planning in the Jack Irons universe?
So planning would be it's an immortal character, and we do have an ending to the universe, but you know how long universes can last. But the goal right now is to finish the first arc of Jack Irons and see if there is demand for more. If there is, then we have a lot of other titles, and they meet, connect into space, and then we have infinite possibilities like Star Trek or even One Piece if you want to compare to the ocean. So our goal is to be as many as possible, but right now it's about 5 or 6 for this first arc.
Okay, so you're hitting about halfway.
Yeah, this should fund 3 if we. One of the things I want to do is if somehow we start getting a lot of influx this campaign, which would be great. Then other additions would be adding other issues to the campaign page and trying to just fund the whole arc off of this campaign. But that's wishful thinking. Good wishful thinking, and hopefully that's the reality. But we'll see.
So I'm sorry if I seem distracted.
Super awesome.
My awesome co-host is sending me some things for me to show on the stream, which I will do so once I get this crap organized in one spot.
Yes. Right. I sent the pictures that you sent me, Cody.
Oh, good.
They're so pretty.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's some pretty pictures.
Well, so the thing that I like is what I have for the background.
Why didn't you use?
I know the other one.
Why didn't you use that last logo?
Oh,
no, the last logo.
Whatever. Because I used the one I used.
You suck.
God, she's just so damn. I don't even.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's see these. This was the logo that kicked ass.
Yeah. So that piece is by Vincent Rush, our letterer, and Matthias Laborde, the color from the first issue, and Zero Fox did the logo design. He won our logo contest for issue 1 and 2, and we've been working with him ever since, and just great stuff.
Very familiar with Fox. Yeah, talked to him quite a bit when dealing with Aaron on Cybershock.
Yes. So the thing I like probably the most about the way that the logo is, though, is how like the Jack is kind of wood and the Irons is all like rusted out metal and stuff.
Yeah, I was stoked with that too. That was so he won the logo contest, but once he won it, we of course did tweaks to make sure it was perfect, and that was part of it, is trying to convey that science fiction angle. So that logo in particular works good on that piece there by Vincent Rush, and it's also the logo that's used on issue number 1 because of the color scheme works really well. But with issue 2, we had to go simpler, and it's just this bright gold. Logo that fits more with the contemporary Western poster feel that we were trying to go for. But so I don't think our logo is going to be too consistent, except for the font and the layout. But we'll see.
Really, that's what matters. Like as long as your general shape and your font and the layout is pretty standard, that's really all that matters.
I think so. It gives that recognition, and we're trying to make the books as uniform as possible while allowing them each to be unique, and that's always a balance. Right. And we get more freedom as indie creators to try. So we're gonna miss and we're gonna hit more often. So yeah, it is what it is. That's good. I like it.
I love this, and I just have a quick question. So this girl that's on his back.
Yes.
Right. Same character, right?
Same character, yes.
Okay. I really like that. Because
same page,
definitely,
actually. Page 22, I believe.
I have the page numbers right here.
I wish I did. No, it's up in my head. I had to remember. You deal with a lot of different team members. You got to remember things pretty quick and just get it done.
Yeah, the reason I wanted to point it out is because I really like how it's two different viewpoints, but it still has that same kind of feel. You know what I mean? Like you can tell that it's the same scene.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous page. I don't believe I sent you the full page, but the layout was great. Steve did a great job really putting texture into the book with issue 2. Issue 1 was more vibrant. It had more like neon lights and kind of a more feel, which it worked really well for the dream sequences or flashback sequences and the bar scene.
I was going to say I remember the bar scene really well. That was really interesting.
But issue 2, it's more wide expanses, and it's I don't know. He did again. We really lucked out with I lucked out with the team members for Jack Irons. I hope they feel they lucked out.
Well, if they stick around. Oh, so Sai, you took it down too quick. So the one that she just had up, I know, Sai, all you want, whatever, I don't care. The one that she just had up, those are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, right?
Yeah, I mean that would be the recognizable
take on.
Yeah, that would be the recognizable term. They are based on that, but they're more of a if some darkness in a any kind of life forms general population on a planetary scale, a large culture, if it takes on these dark undertones, it can provide enough energy to manifest these things. And so they'll show up as different things, but they're all basically the same idea. One would manifest any culture that's really messing with really dark sciences and stuff would manifest plague. The guy in the gas mask. It wouldn't look exactly like him on another planet, but that's the idea. And so there's when you get into space, the whole universe is fractured by those guys. But in Jack Iron Steel Cowboy, this first arc, it's the Earth that was fractured by these guys, and you would recognize them as the 4 horsemen. Famine, which is the corporate greed, apathy, cruelty, suffering, toil, all of that made manifest. War, which is pretty self-explanatory, brutality, organized military actions, raids, all of that. Plague, who I spoke of, dark science, and death, which is I find the most interesting one, and how we're approaching him throughout all of it. And that one is probably the most self-explanatory. The end, nothing.
So the thing I love is what you have here for Famine, where he's holding a box of rations with a smiley face on it. It's just so jacked up.
Oh, I love it.
It's so messed up.
It's good stuff, and they're actually I believe they're called pain rations now. Oh
my gosh.
Yeah. You're working for those. It's like the Borg for Famine in particular. It'd be like the Borg met a lot of really nasty 40K stuff that's only for breeding certain. Again, I call it energetic frequencies, different gnarliness, and it perpetuates that, so it can perpetuate itself and then take over reality as it, become God, become everything. Famine wants to do that. War wants to do that. Plague wants to do that. So they fight each other, and they fight everything in reality, and everything in reality is fighting them.
So they look like they're all buddy there, but really they all hate each other.
Well, they're family. They'll work together. Earth is a really unique circumstance, which I tried to explain in issue 2 through I would say a pretty rough exposition dump. It could have been handled better. It will be handled better in the future now, I know. but
learning experiences.
Yep, exactly. But there's a 5th faction, which is the only aliens to get strong enough to actually force them off their own planets, banded together into the Anu Confederacy, and it's basically just a really Nazi Confederacy hybrid that. It's like a Warhammer 40K government. It's a really gnarly thing that keeps other darknesses away. So they're like, 2% better than everything else you could be dealing with.
Yeah. A whole 2. That's
a whole 2%.
That's all that matters sometimes. So what exactly is this?
Oh, okay. So that was a Famine Borg that came to hunt Jack in issue number 1, lets him finish his drinks, then blows up his favorite card table, and that's how he ends up.
That I feel like that's a gross overreaction to a card table getting.
Well, he was there to also capture Jack.
I mean,
Jack just cares about the card table. He wasn't ever going to get captured by this guy. That wasn't even a thought on his head, you know.
you can tell by the way he's looking. He's like, "You asshole." It's like, I like that table too.
Yep, that's the line.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to still. I'm just channeling that and the scarf, and now I'm just channeling him.
Exactly. Well, good.
Oh my goodness. So I really like the way that everything is kind of like we were saying off air and everything with the way that Max kind of does everything it's really gritty but still kind of whimsical, but it has a lot of character to all of the lines and all of the everything the composition and everything it's really interesting.
I think Maxie, so he really likes the artist who does the all the gorillas. He's also the tank girl guy. That's gonna bug me. Hera. It's gonna bug me. But that's one of his favorite artists of all time. He's really well known, almost as well known. James. Oh, that's gonna bug me. It's James Herrera. It's gonna bug me. No, I hate missing those facts. I really do, especially when I'm starting. But he's also he's a he was a kind of a children's illustrator in Argentina. He was an illustrator in Argentina, so he'd take whatever job he could get. And Argentina, as he spoke, I spoke to him this last time too. It's there is no comic industry, not a bad comic industry. There is no comic industry. So he's really happy to lend his talents and see them flourish elsewhere. And
according to this, Jamie Hewlett.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hewlett. That's what I was going off of. Yeah, Jamie Hewlett. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That would have bugged me forever. But yeah, so I mean, I think that comes through in his art, and how we do our back and forth on creation also is I write a loose script. It tells the story. It has loose of what the dialogue's going to be, but then he goes ahead and lays that out and takes away panels, makes them into double pages or single pages, whatever he wants to do with them, and then I rewrite to that. And so a lot of the personality in Jack is because of that filter and that exchange. So he adds a lot to the character and motions and all that, and it would be nowhere without Maxie in particular. And really happy to be working with him.
So I like that. This is different from the other bar scene, correct? Or is this a reworking of that first one?
This is the first bar scene. This is I don't remember the page number on this one, but it's a contrast scene where he's talking about it came right after the Indian scuffle in one of his flashbacks. The framing device throughout the whole first arc of Jack Iron Steel Cowboy is him just talking to some guy at a bar. Mm-hmm. And in issue 1, you kind of get this guy does have some skill. He killed this robot, and people know him and let him kill this robot in here. That kind of thing. And they're complaining more about the damages than the incident actually happening. That was tried to imply in issue 1, and then issue 2, we're still using the same thing, but at this point he's had a few more drinks, and now he's getting more into history, and it's getting a little bit heavier and darker, and so it's the world history, and he's trying to tell the tale of how Earth came to what it is. And so this is from issue 1, and it's just him chilling out there before that cyborg finishes his drink, lets Jack finish his drink, and then they go at it.
At least he's nice enough to let him finish his drink first.
Exactly.
Very courteous.
Well, don't fuck with a person's drink.
That's right. That's how that goes.
Especially since you paid for it already. I mean,
Exactly. I wouldn't.
Kill a man. Don't fuck with his drink.
How dare you spill a drink, right?
How dare you?
Oh my gosh! Do not Greta at me, please.
How dare you?
Oh my goodness. So, do you have kind of like the tiers or any perks or anything thought through for this campaign when it launches in February, or are you still kind of up in the air?
It's a little up in the air. I'm waiting for more numbers from Wicked Publishing to really get my costs tightened. Get them where I can, get it the smallest possible goal, charge the correct amount for each shipping wherever it's going. All of that. I've got it ballparked, but I want more precision, so I'm still just waiting on that to tweak it a little bit. But the whole page is pretty much ready. The pitches, the rough prices of the tiers, the tier images, all of that.
So, quick question for you: how many pages is 3 going to be?
Also 32, like issue 2. But that's the story content. We will release it as a 48-page book with bonus content. I think we're going to do a return of the fan art gallery this printing, and maybe I'll throw in a little concept art or a short story. Or there's a really cool thing I would really like to do, but that's a stretch goal after the first stretch goal. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I saw on 2 you hit a bunch of your stretch goals. I mean, they weren't huge, but I mean you were making really good progress on number 2.
Yeah, the stretch goals were, it was a really low budget because first off, I launched the 1 and 2 campaign. It was mainly for 2, just to get the line art done and pay Maxi again, just so we can do another one. And it turned into a whole nother thing. Wicked Publishing picked us up during the campaign and said, oh, well, we can print issues for you. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I handled that oddly, but it worked out. Very interesting campaign. And eventually our line art was found by Matthias Laborde, who did that page that you really liked. The colors on it, page 3 of issue 1, with the steel horses and all that. And I adored the colors, so I asked him his rate and worked that into a stretch goal to color the issues and get them printed. And so the main stretch goals for issue 1 and 2, that campaign was coloring, and we got both issues colored, and then after that it was pinups, and then I got to work with a bunch of other cool talent, including Essie Tonks on the Colorado Row pinup, gorgeous pinup. It's the only pinup I still have from Wicked. I'm still waiting on the other ones, but it's up on my wall. I lucked out to get a hold of it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a really cool printing in the 1117. I'm looking at it, but so that was another cool thing, and I just ended up stopping the pinup amounts after a certain time, and then just using the rest to ensure production and all that. And I was right too. We did it. We certainly didn't make a bunch of extra to do anything more.
Right.
No,
at least you helped cover costs, though. That was great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Is I've noticed when it comes to the Jack Irons universe, you really care about how the end product is, and you try to bring in as many different talents as you can. You do a bunch of like when you had the pinup arts and stuff, and you had Carlo Rowe as a guest artist, and you had Tonks who did the colors for it, and you kind of have a history of doing that when you can, which is really cool because your characters are so interesting. Being able to bring other people's interpretations of those same characters in, and then get to showcase them and kind of help spread that indie community. That's just such a really neat thing that you guys have tried to do.
I was so happy to be able to do that. Again, a lot of those people, you'll notice in issue 1, they had fan art printed in there. That's when they, if somebody makes a good impression, treats me well, I want to return that. And in the case of artists, if I can somehow make that mutually beneficial, my God, will I? The talents. I always talk about the talents I work with because that's what you're supposed to do. But I am really lucky. These are good people, and I've been really surprised and just blown away that I've been able to. Issue 2 was I got issue 1 done somehow. I was like, okay, well that's cool, and I can sit there forever. But actually getting issue 2 made and printed, holding this stuff in my hand, there's so many people that were involved in that. Incorporating them further into that, I'm happy to do. I'm blessed to do. I need to do. It's it means the world to me, and I want to make sure they know that. if nothing else.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, I'm really excited to see the Jack Irons universe kind of continue to grow and everything, because it's such an interesting premise, and I like this kind of indie world where usually when you're talking comics, people are thinking either a couple of the really popular tropes. They're either thinking something sci-fi, something superhero. Like that's usually where people are going, or you might get slice of life, right? That's kind of a little bit more along the manga. And it's not like you see a lot of Western. And so the fact that you guys have like a Western and a little bit of the futuristic sci-fi, and you kind of like meshed it together, but it still has a very like heavy feeling of like the Western storytelling and the scenes and everything like that. And I think that's so unique, and it's super cool to see. And just like Skitz said in the chat, like Skitz loves Westerns. I freaking love Westerns. I feel like I never get tired of that kind of setting. Everybody, the Wild West and everything is just kind of based on your honor and based on who's a quicker draw and all that kind of stuff. It's exactly.
So this is where I interrupt you, Shae, because I have to shame you slightly.
Shame me all you want. I don't give a shit.
How many episodes of Firefly have you seen?
None.
The space Western.
Just because I haven't seen Firefly. You know what? I was doing shit when Firefly came out, okay?
What have you been doing in the decades since, asshole?
Hey, working.
Whatever.
Siri. Okay, you know what? This is... I can beat you.
And honestly, too, I'm not adding fuel to the fire here. Maybe I am. That Westerns have been one of the staples of comics forever. It's been a staple of storytelling forever for a reason. It's never been the biggest thing. It was for a while in terms of cinema, and kind of like superhero movies are now. That kind of flair. I wouldn't say biggest thing, but money draws, and everybody went and saw them. The stars were big deal. All of that. The reason is because that plucky survival nature that's inherent in the frontier. It allows you to have more freedom with your characters because there's less society to interrupt that freedom. What we tried to do with Ironverse Comics is blow that up. So you get it. It's the same kind of attitudes, the same ideas, but in a world that's already seen the Old West and all that. It's doing it again, but it's exponentially more. And I tried to communicate that in here. And again, the artists are pretty damn good at doing that. But I also tend to ramble, and this is the point where I call myself out on it.
You know what? If you didn't ramble, then really it would just be up to me inside to try and vamp and sell your book. I like the passion behind it. That's what I think is interesting. So
yeah, my mind keeps going down tunnels. I'll start talking one thing, and then there's this thing, and then I'll try to stay on course, but over here to the left is bugging me, and then sooner or later I've weaved way off the road.
We call that squirreling. Something that I am proficient in.
Yeah. She's a master. She's a master squirreler.
I don't think anyone was asking you.
Shut
I don't
up.
think a single person asked you.
I think Shae has to go.
Put me backstage, bitch! I dare you.
Do you really dare me?
No, I don't, because you will, and you have.
No, I won't. My finger was on the fucking button.
You're such a jerk. Oh my gosh. So, is there anything particularly unique that's coming from this campaign that you're about to launch for book 3?
There's a few different things. So the story, I've learned from issue 1 and 2's campaigns and the stories and the receptions, the reviews. I'm hopefully going to integrate that and make a better product overall. But we introduce another really important character in issue 3. I've been kind of promoting quite a bit. Tracker, the top predator. His goal is to be the top predator of the universe. So we introduce that and kind of throw that into there. I'm excited to do that because now we're finally less into the world building and the character setup, and now we can go into storytelling and character development.
Right.
And I'm really excited for that. And the other big thing is, I believe I might have mentioned earlier, is we're doing variant covers exclusively for this campaign. You're not going to be able to get them after or anywhere else, at least until resellers. I'm in talks with somebody. I hope we'll add a little bit of weight to that. It would be great. But right now, too, actually tonight, right now, you folks can go to the Wicked Publishing store site and pick up issue 1 and 2. We released 25 of each first editions. So the print run we did for the backers. And I don't know how many are left. It didn't sound like too many last I talked, but there's still a chance if you folks are interested in anything I'm talking about. I also, as I said before, I recommend going and checking out the Tapastic issue 1, because you'll get the whole story. You won't get the beautiful color, but you'll get the whole story, and so you'll know what you're, at least half of what you're getting. And we'd appreciate it very much. I want to show that it can sell quick, and so far so good, but it would be great. The covers for this again are going to be limited. The first printing covers are going to be the same as the second printing covers from Wicked Publishing, coming in the next couple months. But this is your only chance before the campaign and during the campaign to snag the books yourself and get these covers before that second printing. So get on it if it's something that interests you. It means a lot to a bunch of indie creators, a whole bunch I'm able to work with, and the more we can get done, the more we can again deliver you the best of the Weird Space West.
That is awesome. So we do actually have a couple of questions from our chat, which is super great. Thank you guys for participating. So we've got Skits with one of his trademark questions, I guess, since he likes to ask this in most all of our streams, which is fantastic. What is the worst mistake that you have ever made with past campaigns? Like what do you consider to be the biggest learning point that you've had?
So again, I made a executive decision when we got picked up by Wicked Publishing that I didn't want to force all the backers who had already gotten us so far to refund and then back a different tier that offered printing with shipping costs and collecting their data. So I had to actually manually collect all of the physical tier orders because we upgraded a couple of the higher digital tiers to physical tiers. Don't do that. It worked fine, but there was no, it was good. We didn't have to have those refunds, all of that, and it did what it was supposed to do, but it was a lot of extra work, and a lot of people, got their books later than they could have had we already had their information. Though if they don't update in Indiegogo anyway, you would have the wrong information, would have to check again anyway, but still, it was extra work. That was just a basic a clerical mistake. There was no reason to that would happen to anybody else if you go in planning it right. I went in again. There we go. I don't go in without a plan. I went in without a plan. I just wanted to see if I can get something done. It worked out, sure. A lot of extra work, and the main thing I always want to tell people, because I hear a lot of other people saying, this is the way to do it, this is the only way, or go this way, you got to do it this way, you got to have this first. You don't have to have any of that. It's just it will make your job easier. I didn't have any of that. The best thing I had was the full first issue for a preview. That was very helpful, but besides that, there's no clout, no name, no I think I only got better lettering because somebody really liked the art and the story and didn't like the lettering so much that he went in and changed it and gave it to us.
It was like, just take this. Just take this.
Yeah, no, please. I love this. This is really hard to read. Don't have it like this. Because I first did the lettering because I didn't want to pay a letterer, so I'll figure out lettering. And I thought it was good. It was terrible. It was terrible. Then Max seems like, this is terrible. And so he tried it, but English is his second language. So you can kind of guess how that went.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the one that that guy had seen was the second language translation, and I mean it did good. Again, just so many people along the way. I try my best to thank them, and again, I thank you guys for having me and giving me a
Whenever.
platform to talk on and all of that.
Literally
Oh well, I
anytime.
appreciate that.
I mean, we really like your book and the artwork and everything that's kind of going on with it. And like we said in our last stream, like we say in all of our streams, we don't put things on our channel that we don't like, that we wouldn't back and purchase ourselves. There we have the funds to do so or not, because I mean we got a lot of people we've been having, I got 5 people streaming this weekend. I ain't got that kind of dosh, but
oh yeah. No, as I tell anybody who lends their voice to our voice allows us to be heard, seen, and enjoyed above the crowd that everybody's trying to do this. So you gotta try and make those individual connections where you can, and given a good opportunity, good people to chat with. I've been enjoying the hell out of this stream. It's hard to find. It's hard to find.
So we did have a question from Alaz, which Sai just answered. So yeah, Alaz, this is book 3 in a series. We did cover it earlier that you're planning at least 5 and then kind of see where it goes.
Yeah, at least 5. I would like to do 6, but I gotta feel out how everything goes with just the whole logistics of the beast before I want to commit to more. But I want to.
Totally fair.
Our plans and ability are there. It's just the funding.
I have like 17 jokes about McDonald's and rest stops and Craigslist that I was gonna throw in there about you figuring out how far you really want to go with this series.
Well, so Patreon / Jack Irons, the Steel Cowboy.
Man, if you don't end up getting, you know what? I want 10% for everyone.
10%.
Yes.
10%. Consistent managers make 10%.
Damn straight.
We actually haven't mentioned this.
It happened without us.
We haven't mentioned this live since our fundraising stream for Carla and John, but we actually do have a tip jar link in the description of our stream. If anyone wanted to quote unquote super chat us during a show.
There you go. Please do, folks. Support this wonderful show. You get more secret Patreon Jack Irons content being leaked.
Yeah, sure. Oh my gosh. Okay,
would you like to ask Skit's other infamous question?
Skit's other question. What's the best thing you've ever done in past campaigns?
Best thing is getting them done. The thing that worked the best, fan art contests with 1 and 2 really seemed to kind of stoke some fire to the character and the IP. But you have to have a pretty good looking character and IP for people, artists, to want to draw and angle and stuff. And that's hard. That's not something that you can really quantify unless you're an artist yourself and then you're drawing it how you like or whatever. Then that works. I don't understand it. I just lucked out. That helps. Make sure you've got a good character design, and the rest is hustle all the time. Do your best not to build walls where they don't need to be. Network where you can. Find good people to work with. Learn from who you respect.
Take lessons that other people have learned and incorporate them into what you're doing, so you don't have to repeat the same mistakes yourself.
Exactly, and then hopefully you'll be making different mistakes they can learn from, and then you're copacetic.
Yeah.
But it's the best thing is getting the books printed and to everybody. If I have to define, the best thing was getting it done. But there's a lot of best things that led to its success, if that's what you're asking about, and I tried to list those.
Well, awesome.
Cool.
Dollar Coins wants to know which Zelda girl is the best girl.
Dollar Coins is my wonderful co-editor at Ironverse Comics. He's the creator of Cactus Coyote. I'm gonna say Chic. Just because first thing that come to my head, dollar coins. I don't know why you're asking that.
Well, it's been a little self-deprecating in the chat too. After the question of what's the worst mistake you made with your past campaigns, his answer was leaving Cactus Coyote. Oh, goodness.
I did leave. Okay, well, I was like the guy who showed up to check on the kid once in a while. Okay.
So what? You showed up and the kid was like balanced on like a chair on top of a countertop, reaching over something.
Yeah,
else
but the key would be balanced. It was fine. Everything was good. No, everything was still good. I think we did really well for what we tried to do. Out of nowhere, not so much promotion. The what we were selling wasn't exactly what we were showing people, which was the Cactus Coyote manga was the preview for the story and the writing, but we were doing Andrea Boscolo was doing the art for the Cactus Coyote campaign. And so there might have been a disconnect there. There's again character design. There's a whole lot of factors, and one of them is what was $U coins, but I think you were one of the better ones. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, so and that does bring up an interesting point, because there's a lot of people who get an idea of what it is that they want, and like they'll maybe put out a cover that doesn't show the same kind of, even remotely close to the same kind of art style as what's going to be in the book, or just a couple of things where people feel like they're being bait and switched on, and being able to make sure, if you're going to put, like have a guest artist that is not your main book artist who's going to do a cover, just finding a way to make sure that that's clear. I think is probably something that a lot of people really early on in campaigns tend to kind of overlook, because it's like in your head when you're like, oh right, and then you put something out and everyone else is like, oh, this is what it's going to look like in the entire book, fuck yeah, I'm going to do this, and then they get the book and they're like, what the hell is this? This is not what this looks like. Oh,
I mean, it's a classic sales bait and switch.
It is.
I mean, the comic book industry's been doing that forever. That's why I didn't really want to. It took a lot of different circumstances for me to actually be wanting to do variant covers for issue 3. For that very reason, and even though we're doing variant covers for them, it's still going to be the same line artist.
Right.
So just so that people don't get that disconnect. And to get the artist, I appreciate the paycheck as well. A lot of people tend to do the variants because you're getting the piece of art, which could be wonderful, but you're also getting the name. And I don't really, that's not what's it. I want the art, and I want it to be as truthful and communicative as possible. And I think Maxie could do a couple more cool covers for issue 1 and 2. And if we get the colorist I'm looking at, that would be very cool.
Well, and so that's kind of one thing. Like I think if you have your main book artist, and this is just a personal opinion, but if you have your main book artist who does at least your main cover, then you kind of, it's consistent throughout. You kind of know what it is that you're getting. I don't have a problem having variant covers that are done by different artists. My problem is when people have variant covers done by different artists, and they maybe big up that it's the artist, but they word it in such a way that it sounds like that artist is doing the entire book.
Yeah, no, that's just not having faith in your book. That bugs me.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna back this book. And it's like, EBS did a cover. He did not do the whole book. Like, he's doing Cyberpunk.
Again, that's not having faith in your work. I have no lack of faith in the talents I work with, whether or not they're well known. Everybody starts somewhere, and God, man, I've been only in this 2 years. I'm still starting, and there's no reason to worry. Everybody started somewhere, so I don't see the point of marketing it that way, but I can see how some people can see the point.
Yeah, it's just a matter of making sure that you don't make anyone feel like they were cheated. Like, that's kind of the idea of having a customer centric kind of business model, is you don't want anyone to feel that they were cheated, that they were swindled in any way. You want to make sure that everybody walks away like happy with your product, happy with everything that you were able to provide as extras, and that maybe that they came out on top. At a minimum, broke even.
Yeah, that's the hope. Honestly, you want to make them feel like they made a profit, and you want to make a profit off of making them feel like they made a profit, and that's always the goal. In fact, I can pretty much guarantee our backers made a profit because we gave them extra pinups too. We actually printed and put out pinups with issue 2 when we were sending it out. That were not offered on the campaign or anything like that. We just we took so dang long, and they weren't. We already had the pieces ready, and to print one for each backer or whatever wasn't a biggie. So it worked out real good, and I was very happy that I was able to make that work. But yeah, I would. I don't tend to buy variant covers. I read more than I collect comics, so I don't. However, form if the book's beaten up but readable, that's my copy. I don't. So that's been my bit with the variant cover stuff. Exactly, is communicating the fairness and making sure that folks know what they're getting into, and that's actually leads me into a question that was in chat that I did want to find an opportunity to answer. Doc Salem, he checked out my pre-launch campaign and had a critique. The preview pages are too small. The main focus should be on the book and not the sketch. I'm not doing the sketch. That is Michael Bancroft, and that is a review of book 1 and 2. We don't have a campaign pitch video yet, Doc Salem. That's in the traditional sense. We actually should before launch, and I'm pretty excited because it'll come with a new Jack Iron soundtrack piece, and could have some really nice editing too if Dollar Coins has the time. And yeah, I'm not. That's something I don't. There's a lot of skills I don't have, so I try and find good talents to work with that do have those skills.
I'm not gonna hit up Dollar Coins. It's been I love video editing, but it's been so many years since I've actually been able to do it. So, hey, Dollar, I'm gonna hit you up later. We're gonna have a conversation.
But yeah, it's really important to make sure this kind of crowdfunding, because you're trying to purchase their faith in you. You're trying to make some way that they can believe that you'll put that back out. It's pre-order, but like without name behind it, without a lot of different weight or consistency. Luckily, Jack and Ironverse Comics is starting to build that consistency, but it's still, I wouldn't blame people who hadn't heard of us and are looking at campaign 3 and don't really see us as a consistent producer, because we've only done the 2 issues and it took some time to get those done. Basically, it's just like you said, communication is always key in any fucking relationship.
Communication is key, especially even if it's just the customer and I don't know, the person providing whatever. I lost myself in that. Just gonna. Yep.
Great job, Shae.
A little low.
But anyway, I didn't mean to. But the point was, the Michael Bancroft video will be replaced because I don't really want to do that bait and switch. Because right there, Doc Salem saw it as us doing that, and that's not really what I want to communicate through that. So that's good information. Thank you, Doc Salem. I got to learn from everything and take some take the information, integrate it, and try and improve.
That's super awesome. Well, I'm gonna do final call thing that anyone in the chat might have. So if you've got any other questions, make sure that you ask them now. You only got a couple more minutes before we're going to end up closing off. But do you have anything else that you wanted to kind of highlight or mention at all, Cody?
Not really. If you're interested in this by its art, again, we provide that free issue because the tone and the delivery might not be up to everybody, might not be everybody's game, and that's the same with any kind of work. But I think in particular, our work is going to fit with a certain brand, a certain type of people who are kind of. It's going to be real. It's a head job. It's a headpiece. It's just real thinky, and that's not everybody's ball game. But for those who it is, I think we're doing a really good job at it. So please go ahead and check it out and see for yourself. And if you don't think we're doing a good job, please let me know.
Hit up Cody and be like, Cody, this sucks. Crap is this.
I'll put that one little hatch mark in my little notepad. Sucks. The other one doesn't suck.
Like I don't know how to fix sucks because it's very ambiguous, but okay, sucks. Just underline it 10 times.
I'll know if the sucks far outweigh the doesn't sucks, then it sucks.
Dollar Coin says work harder, Cody.
I need to work harder, okay? My fingers aren't to the bone yet. I'm sorry, Dollar.
They're just to the first.
Yeah, actually, I have experience working my fingers to the bone.
We're not talking about Craigslist. I told you.
I was just gonna say I thought that was a Patreon exclusive, Cody.
Well, I mean, I had to offer you guys some exclusive content, and you just happened to squirrel it out of me. Since I learned that term now too.
Yes. Oh, all of the squirreling. This is such a wonderfully beautiful shit show tonight.
The banner has been updated.
Yes.
Red Valkyrie exclusive. So happy.
Yeah.
Yay!
But yeah.
Well, do you have any other questions, Sai, for our awesome guest?
I do not. I think I am totally good. I really do like your project. I really do love the space western genre. I'm a fucking massive Firefly and Serenity fan, so I look forward to seeing 3 when it comes out.
Oh, good. We start heading that direction more after this first arc. We're taking a model of One Piece with how we're handling all our titles, and we're going to try and merge them together, and hopefully folks will like what we ended up doing. But down the line, we got to get there. The first bit is Jack Iron's Steel Cowboy coming in February. Get your issue 3, your issue number 1, number 2, exclusive variants. And I really appreciate the time for everybody in chat and you folks especially. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. We have one last
very
important question. It's the most important question. Can a shark beat a lion?
Well, dollar coins are what's the battlefield? That's what determines it.
That is actually quite true.
That directly determines it. I mean, I guess you could give the lion a snorkel, but I still go for the shark. Can't really give I guess you could do that Futurama scuba suit on a shark, but then you take away its mouth and then it can't fight either. So I think the lion has the edge in both, but most likely the shark's the
lion has.
I'm gonna say
the lion does have scuba gear. Does he have like a Bowie knife on his tail also? Because maybe that would do it.
Oh my god!
Put the lion and the shark in space. And then answer the question.
Space wins. Space always wins.
Space would win.
Explosive decompression wins.
Oh, it was the best way ever to end a stream. I'm such a ridiculous question. Thank you so much for everyone coming into the chat. We appreciate all of you guys. You are super amazing. Do not forget to sign up on the mailing list for Jack Irons 3. And please, if you enjoyed this, like, share, subscribe. Help us combat all of our funny troll downvotes that we get every single time we stream, because why not? But yeah, we really appreciate everybody coming out. We really are happy that we were able to talk to you, Cody. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you guys.
And thank you to my wonderful producer and co-host, Sai. I appreciate everything that you do for these streams.
You're very welcome. And I'm going to try something new for the end of our show. So just mute yourselves after you say goodnight.
All right, good night.
Good night. Oh, I'm so scared.
Jackass. So thank you all for coming. Tune in tomorrow for 2 more wonderful episodes. Shae was supposed to actually do her fucking closing and not make this awkward as fuck, and then we're all gonna wave and say goodnight, and then they were gonna mute themselves, but obviously, do the normal thing and then mute was just too fucking complicated.
So you would need to have maybe spun me up before right now.
I just thought of it and made something, so fuck you. Okay. Thank you all for coming. Have a great evening. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Take care, folks.